Maharaj is in Europe, so not sure. I sent me a message which time he's asking. I mentioned, but not sure what's going to happen if Maharaj will join. Not. It's become so. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare Ram, Ram. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Hare. Ram, Ram, Hare Hare. But Maharaj didn't reply. What do you want to do? Already 8:05. Madhubal Prabhu, what do you want to do? Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Hare. Madhubal Prabhu. Okay, anyway, let's read what can be done. We are go by the will of the providence. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Cheva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudirayat. Nasta Prayeshu Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya. Bhagavati Uttama Sloke Bhaktir Bhavanistiki. Hari Om Tatsat. Reading from Canto 4, Creation of the Fourth Order, Chapter, I think 8 or 9. Chapter 9, Dhruva Maharaj's prayers. Dhruva Maharaj returned home, back to Godhead. We'll pick up from verse number 6. Yeah, verse number 6. 11 and 12 are the most important prayers out of these. We'll see. We'll read a few verses, look at Prabhupada's purport, and hopefully if Maharaj joins, meantime, we can hear from Maharaj. Sorry, I had to take the class, unfortunately. So verse number 6, Dhruva Maharaj speaking. Dhruva Vacha Yovanta pravishya mama vacham imam prasuptam sanjeevayati akila shakti dhara swadhamna anyam cha hasta charana sravanatva adi prana namo bhagavate purushaya tobhyam. Dhruvacha yo anta pravishya mama vacham imam prasuptam sanjeevayati akila shakti dhara swadhamna anyam cha hasta charana sravanatva adi prana namo bhagavate purushaya tubhyam. Dhruvacha yo anta pravishya mama vacham imam prasuptam sanjeevayati akila shakti dhara swadhamna anyam cha hasta charana sravanatva adi prana namo bhagavate purushaya tubhyam. Word to word. Dhruva Maharaj said, yeah, the Supreme Lord who, anta, within, pravishya, entering, mama, my vacham, words, imam, all these, prasuptam, which are all inactive or dead. So this is like pranipat, prakrushta rupena, prasanga, prakrushta rupena, asakti, deeply attached to material like that. Prasuptam, which are all inactive or dead. These are the senses, it means. Sanjeevayati, rejuvenates, akila, universal, sakti, energy, dara, possessing, swadhamna, by his internal potency, the Supreme Lord Syndrome. Anyancha, other limbs also, hasta, like hands, charana, legs, sravana, ears, tva, skin, adi, and so on. Pranan, like force, basically here combined both gross and the Jnanendriyas and Karmendriyas, both are been given pretty much. Everything became rejuvenated. Pranan, how? Life force, Nama, let me offer my obeisances, Bhagavate, unto the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Purushaya, the Supreme Person, Tubhyam, unto you. Translation by Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. Dhruva Maharaj said, my dear Lord, you are all powerful. After entering within me, you have enlivened all my sleeping senses. My hands, legs, ears, touch sensation, life force, and especially my power of speech. Let me offer my respectful obeisances unto you. I repeat, Dhruva Maharaj said, my dear Lord, you are all powerful. After entering within me, you have enlivened all my sleeping senses, my hands, legs, ears, touch sensation, life force, and especially my power of speech. Let me offer my respectful obeisances unto you. If Maharaj joins, please let me know, because I won't be able to see who is there. Purport by Sri Prabhupada. Dhruva Maharaj could understand very easily the difference between his condition before and after attaining spiritual realization and seeing the Supreme Personality of Godhead face to face. He could understand that his life force and activities had been sleeping. Unless one comes to the spiritual platform, his bodily limbs, mind, and other facilities within the body are understood to be sleeping. Unless one is spiritually situated, all his activities are taken as a dead man's activities or ghostly activities. Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur has composed a song in which he addresses himself. O living entity, get up. How long shall you sleep on the lap of Maya? So now you have the opportunity of possessing a human form of body. Now try to get up and realize yourself. The Vedas also declare, get up, get up. You have the opportunity, the boon of human life. Now realize yourself. This is, I think, Prabhupada's famous statement. I think Kena Upanishad. Uchista Varan Niboda Jagruta. So that is, I think, if I remember correctly, Jayadvaita Maharaj also quotes that verse. Uttishta Varan Jagra Nibodh. One must always awaken. Now realize yourself. These are Vedic injunctions. Dhruva Maharaj actually experienced that upon enlightenment of his senses on the spiritual platform, he could understand the essence of Vedic instruction, that the Supreme Personality of Godhead is the Supreme Person, is not impersonal. Dhruva Maharaj could immediately understand this fact. He was aware that for a very long time, he was practically sleeping. He felt the impetus to glorify the Lord according to the Vedic conclusion. A mundane person cannot offer any prayer or glorify the Supreme Personality of Godhead because he has no realization of the Vedic conclusion. We understand that Dhruva Maharaj is only 5 years old. He doesn't know Sanskrit. He's thinking here, how I can offer? I have no idea how can I offer prayers, but he wanted to offer. So according to his desire and surrender, now let's see how Lord has responded. Therefore, when Dhruva Maharaj found this difference within himself, he could immediately understand that it was because of causeless mercy of the Lord. This is also significant. Ahaituki kripa, causeless, no cause. That means what qualification we need to have. He offered obeisances to the Lord with great respect and reverence, completely understanding that the Lord's favor was upon him. This spiritual enlightenment of Dhruva Maharaj's senses and mind was due to the action of the internal potency of the Lord, Yogamaya, Sarup Shakti of the Lord. In this verse, therefore, the word Swadhamna means by spiritual energy. Spiritual enlightenment is possible by the mercy of the spiritual energy of the Lord. The chanting of the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, is first addressed to the spiritual energy of the Lord, Hare. This spiritual energy acts when a living entity fully surrenders and accepts his position as an eternal servitor. When a person places himself at the disposal or order of the Supreme Lord, that is called Sevonmukhe Madhav Swayameva Sprotida. Sevonmukha means we are ready to engage in service, ready to accept the responsibility to serve Guru and Vaishnavas. Guru, Vaishnava and Hari. At that time, the spiritual energy gradually reveals the Lord to him. Without revelation by the spiritual energy, one is unable to offer prayers glorifying the Lord. This has been repeatedly told again and again. Even to offer prayers, even to preach, to do anything basically. Krishna Shakti Vina Nahi Tare Pravartam. So, any amount of philosophical speculation or poetic expression by mundane persons is still considered to be the action and reaction of the material energy. When one is actually enlivened by the spiritual energy, all his senses become purified and he engages only in the service of the Lord. At that time, his hands, legs, ears, tongue, mind, genitals, and everything engage in the service of the Lord. Such an enlightened devotee no longer has any material activities, nor has he any interest in being materially engaged. This process of purifying the senses and engaging them in the service of the Lord is known as bhakti or devotion service. In the beginning, the senses are engaged by the direction of the spiritual master and Shastra, and after realization, when the same senses are purified, the engagement continues. The difference is that in the beginning, the senses are engaged in a mechanical way, but after realization, they are engaged in spiritual understanding. So, in the morning class also we're discussing. Let us offer our prayers and we'll try to understand. We'll read some more, but let's offer our prayers. Can get the right spiritual intelligence. Om Adhyanatamandasya Jnananjana Salakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namah Mukam Karoti Vachalam Pangum Langete Girim Yat Krupatamham Vande Sri Gurum Denataram Paramananda Madhavam Sri Chaitanya Iswaram Mancha Kalpatarubhasya Krupa Sindhu Bhaivacha Paditanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Sri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadavayam Dadati Swapadantikam Shri Rupa Goswami Prabhupada Ki Jai Shri Prabhupada Ki Jai Gaura Bhakta Ki Jai. So, in this, and we understand this context here. Dhruva Maharaj offering prayers, but before that, Dhruva Maharaj has been given the greatest mercy by his spiritual master Narada Muni after being tested, after going through the greatest difficulty or anxiety situation of distress, situation of fear, frustration, all of those aspects, when he's not been put on the father's lap, he's not able to sit on the father's lap, where the beautiful verse, first important instruction from Dhruva Maharaj's story, we get from the previous chapter. I forget the verse number, but it says, Dirgam swasanti vrajanasya param ma mangalastata bhunte janoyas paradukkadastat. The mother Suniti, when he approached back, and he was crying and in fear and anxiety, don't know what to do, he has at least submitted to the authority, at least mother, in a helpless situation. And mother also guided her very much properly. That's why when Dhruva Maharaj going back to Dhruva planet, Vaikuntha, within this material world, even his mother was also going because of his help, because of our following Vedic culture and following the instruction and guiding the Dhruva Maharaj, becoming the Vartam Pradaksha Guru, Siksha Guru, in one way or the other, to help. So there comes Sasana Vrajanasya Bharam, fully like hissing like a snake and crying and so much anxiety. And then Mother Suniti is also in the same situation also. But at the same time, she's immediate instruction she has given that Ma Amangalas Tata Paradukkadas Mukte, one who's inflicting pain on others, even though we might be put in the most difficult situation, if we react in the same way the other person is acting, then you will be also getting the reactions of it. Don't enter into that entanglement of this chain of reactions. Better not to act in that way as the other person is doing. So don't expect any ill feelings for others. Don't wish inauspicious for others. Ma amangalam. Auspicious only, even though negative feelings are coming from the others, they're pushing us in a negative way, but let's be positive, be in a positive direction. Take it as a will of the providence, as Parikshit Maharaj has taken when as heard is being cursed. This is the quality our acharyas explain again and again, repeatedly. If one wants to be free from this entanglement, then they must tolerate. Tattenu kampam susamikshamano. Samiksha is very important. That's why we have to take time, not react immediately at any point of time, whether in the office or in a worldly situation, outside, wherever, in temple situation. Take it a little bit with cool head. Satyenu kampam susamikshamano gunjana evatma krutam vipakam pradvaga vapavir vedadam namaste mukti pade sadi jiva daibak. So one must use your mind, body and senses, words in the service of the Supreme Lord by tolerating susamikshamano. He must examine himself what qualification I might have committed previously. Let me suffer. That's what Parikshit Maharaj's quality was. Let me suffer. The consequence, immediately, right away, let me suffer. 7 days and let me suffer. Then immediately he received the news from someone that he's going to die in 7 days. He accepted it. So this is the instruction of Lord Brahma in Canto 10, Chapter 14. Very important instruction. This is the only way one can be able to get liberation. And this is the first instruction in a way Lord Krishna is giving instruction in Bhagavad Gita also. Matras parsastra konte sitoshna sogodakada agamapaino anityasthitam titiksho bharata. Titiksho. And this is the quality of Vaishnava. Titiksho karunika suhrudo sarvadein ajata sitro santo sadho sadhu bhushana. And this is the quality again and again. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu also instructing Trinadapi Sumichena Tarorapi Saishma Amanina Manadena Kirtaniya Sadhara. 4 qualifications one must develop. How will you develop? You will develop by artificially trying the 26 qualities. Prabhupada explains in, I think, Canto 6. He's explaining other Canto 4, Tutumara's pastime. I think Narada is pastime. 50 characteristics 50 characteristics, qualities are there in a minute quantity of the Supreme Lord. 50 qualities, not in full, in a minute quantity. When he is in pure state, when he is in contaminated state, he doesn't have much of any spiritual qualities. He has all material qualities. So one can only develop these by being in the association of the Supreme Lord, and he is especially in the pure devotees. He is represented in pure devotees association. More and more we have to be in their association, observe. Why we have to be with sadhus? Why we have to be the spiritual master? Why we have to be the advanced devotees? Because we have to observe very carefully how their conduct is, how they act, how they react, how they speak. This is Arjuna's instruction. If you go back to chapter 2, we have to scrutinizing the read. So Prabhupada books very much. Everything is there. 2.55. First question asked by Arjuna in the Bhagavad Gita. First and foremost question. Sthita prajnasya kavasa samadhistasya kesha kim asit kim pravasi kim brajeta kim. How does the living self-realized soul, perfected person who is situated in self-realization, how does he act? How does he walk? How does he talk? How does he sit? So a very important instruction. First and foremost, immediate answer Lord Krishna gives, he doesn't operate on the mental platform. That means he is utterly dependent on the Supreme Lord and his representatives. Lord Krishna instructing Uddhava on this point about how much is important to pure devotee. Nirapeksham munim santam nirvairam sarva bhuteshu. Uyed angri renubi. Nirvairam sarva. This is in the 11th canto. Chapter 14, verse number 16. Very important verse. We should look at the purport also. Nirapeksham munim santam nirvairam sarva samadarsanam anubrajami aham nityam puyayet angri renubi. With the dust of my pure devotee, my devotees, lotus feet, I desire to purify the material worlds. Lord is not saying by my mercy. Lord is saying here, glorifying pure devotees, which are situated within me. Thus, I always follow the footsteps of my pure devotees. So that's why Lord is again and again saying, I am not independent. Everybody is saying, I am independent. When Durvasa said, you are independent. Oh Lord, you can relieve me of this Sudarshan Chakra's fire. He's acted independent. That's why this Taja Buddhi, that smartness, intelligence can only work in IT and business and other material activities. It doesn't work in spiritual activities. We cannot draw the mercy by our smartness. So we have to be very careful. So Lord said, Durvasa became very intelligent, very smart. He said, you are independent, you can take away this Sudarshan Chakra. Why should I run to others, other devotees and others? Said Lord said, I don't know anything. I don't know anything. I only know pure devotees. Please go back to Amrish Maharaj. I cannot do anything. I don't know anything. So only Amrish Maharaj. You have to go back and ask. He can only control. I'm not independent. Asvatantrihi dvija. Sadhuvir grastavati. Bhakte bhakta janapriya. I'm dear Mati. The same point is mentioned. With the dust of my devotees, lotus feet, I desire to purify the material world, which are situated within me. Thus, I always follow the footsteps of my pure devotees, who are free from all personal desire, wrapped in thought of my pastimes, peaceful, without any feelings of enmity. That means even if the enemy comes. So, your enemy is speaking, still, he's not. That means for devotion service, for responsibility given by the authority, acharyas, we should be ready to do anything and everything, even we have to work with those we don't want to work with. We are not comfortable working with. Even if he is enemy or she is enemy, whoever, male or female, doesn't matter. We have to work because this is pure devotee's instruction. This is authority's instruction. This is a spiritual master's instruction. We have no choice. This is what dependence means. Independent means even if Guru asks, authority asks, we are being given the responsibility, but we don't take. We want to be in the comfortable situation. That's why we are here in this material world. That we have to give up. These comforts we have to give up for Guru and Krishna, for pure devotees. Lord himself ready to do that. And we are seeing here. Thus, I always follow the footsteps of my pure devotees who are free from all personal desire, are wrapped in thought of my pastimes, peaceful without any feelings of enmity. Important purport also. Just as devotees always follow the footsteps of Lord Krishna, similarly, Lord Krishna, being a devotee of his devotees, follows the footsteps of his devotees. A pure servitor of the Lord is always meditating on the pastimes of the Lord, considering how to assist the Lord in his mission. That's why they're always peaceful, because they're always meditating on the Lord. How I can improve, how I can do more service. So Prabhupada never thought small, always thought big. He's always thinking how I can carry out Guru's instruction. All the material universe are situated in Sri Krishna's body, as demonstrated to Arjuna, Mother Yashoda, and others. This universal form, pretty much talking about. Lord showed it to 5 different personalities, 4 or 5. Arjuna once, different levels of showing universal form. Mother Yashoda twice, and then another person is there in Srimad Bhagavatam, that pastime is described. Lord showed in a glimpse, and obviously when he came to meet Duryodhana in that assembly, Lord showed there also. So 2, 4, and 1, 5. And then in Chaitanya Leela, Lord Advaita Acharya is being shown by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, this universal form. But different levels, different gradations, different exhibitions are there in each of those. It's not exactly the same thing. Lord Krishna is the supreme personality of Godhead, and therefore there is no question of impurity in the Lord. Still, the Lord desires to purify the universe situated within him by taking the dust of the lotus feet of his pure devotees. This is what is important. So that's why we have to, if the Lord himself is taking them, if we are following the Lord, then we have to be, always strive to be, understand the desires of the pure devotees. Srila Prabhupada, previous acharyas, say repeatedly, Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami, every chapter, he's not doing, let me at the end submit to the spiritual master and acharya. No, every chapter pretty much submitting. Rupa Raghunatha Pade Haive Akuti, Puje Bhaje Yugala Priti. He's always submitting to 6 Goswami, because by Lord Nityananda Prabhu's mercy, he received 10 gifts and he attained Rupa Goswami's, Sanatana Goswami's mercy. By that mercy only he attained the shelter of Sri Radha Madan Mohan. By Lord's mercy, Radha Madan Mohan mercy only he could write. That's why you can feel that gratitude. You could feel that utter dependence. Pretty much every verse is writing. With that dependence only is writing. He's able to write. So that's why every sense and every senses are enlivening it. Just like Dhruva Maharaj's senses are being enlivened by the touch of the conch shell, where it is mentioned that Lord who appeared is called Prushnigarbha. Or Prushnigarbha, the Lord's form who appeared in front of Dhruva Maharaj is called Prushnigarbha. And our Sri Vasanath Chakravarti Thakur explained that is Garbhodaka Sai Vishnu is also called Prushnigarbha. He is the one who has appeared in front of Dhruva Maharaj and he touched his conch shell, so that because he was thinking helpless, feeling helpless, then Lord gave his mercy because of his uttermost surrender and submission. So it's very important to pray sincerely and be in the association. By the mercy of Narada Muni, it was happened very quickly, rapidly. Without the dust of the lotus feet of the devotee, it is not possible to engage in pure devotional service. It's the same thing. All our acharyas praise, all the Siddhanta is again and again coming to the secret of success. Again and again, Prabhupada brings the same point, but again and again, repeatedly we forget. Repeatedly we forget and not take the association, proper association of the pure devotees, advanced devotees. So that's this is important instruction for us to carry on every day, daily basis. That means even if you are at home, nobody is there, take the shelter of Tulsi Maharani, offer obeisance. Not a single day should go by without offering obeisance, without doing protection. We cannot take lightly. Otherwise, there is no progress. We cannot improve our chanting of the holy name. We are chanting of Tulsi beads. If you don't take proper shelter of Tulsi Maharani, how we are going to develop any attachment to the holy name? How we are going to develop attraction for the holy name? No possibility. No possibility at all. So that's without which one cannot directly experience the transcendental bliss. No possibility. Lord is saying here clearly. Lord Krishna thought, I have established this strict rule that one can enjoy my transcendental bliss only through devotion service obtained from the dust of the lotus feet of my devotees. Since I also desire to experience my own bliss, I will observe the standard procedure and accept the dust of my devotees' feet. The Lord accepted the gopis' dust of the lotus feet. When he got shown some pastime, seemingly headache, but Lord wants to see Who is actually qualified? Glorify the gopis of Vrindavan. Dwarkavasis were mixed with Aishwarya, but gopis were completely immersed. No matter what, they are ready to do everything and anything for the Lord. They are ready to go to hell. This is the attitude of a fully submitted, surrendered devotee of the spiritual master, surrendered disciple, ready to do anything and everything. When spiritual master asks, he is ready to do. It doesn't matter how difficult, how complex it is. It always depends. As your Lord also described, I will observe the standard procedure and accept the dust on my devotees' lotus feet. Sri Madhvacharya points out that Lord Krishna follows the footsteps of his devotees in order to purify them. As the Lord walks along behind his pure devotees, the wind blows the dust of the Lord's feet in front of his devotees, who then become purified by contact with such transcendental dust. One should not foolishly look for material logic in these transcendental pastimes of the Lord. It is simply a question of love between the Lord and his devotees. So you cannot put logic and argument in transcendental subject matter. Then we cannot understand. So that Lord Brahma is instructing, Prabhupada instructed many times. So that is instruction from to being Arjuna. Lord Krishna himself is telling in the 56th verse or 57th verse. Prajahati mana kaman sarvan partha manogatan. Give up your mental speculation. Don't go by mind's instructions. Sankalpa vikalpa. That is mind's business. Accept the instructions of the spiritual master, Acharya's authority. As much as possible, try your best. Sincerely try. So here we are seeing that how Lord has enlivened, has come quickly. And we were discussing yesterday on the last few days. Narada Muni's example also clearly points out 1, 5, 24 to 28, very important verses. So where Sri Prabhupada is writing in the purport that one wants to go back to Godhead, three things are required. Number one, senses must be controlled. One who is sense controlled. Number two, one must be obedient. Number three, one is disciplined. When these three things are there, then he can go back to Godhead, guaranteed. Then he can. Otherwise, there is no question of going back home. There is no question of spiritual advancement. The sense control and obedience and discipline. Discipline, that's why Bhakta means Bhakta ko badra nahi padta hai. Means for devotee is the highest exalted position. He doesn't need to be taught. He doesn't need to be taught. He doesn't need to be disciplined. Devotee means he understands very carefully, observes, he acts under discipline, strict discipline, like Narada Muni. He was having that childish sportive mentality before. But once he observed carefully how these Bhakti Vedants, these were engaged themselves fully 24/7 in devotional service. Immediately, by their mercy and also by his observation and deep attachment, his absorption, as it explains, as here also Dhruva Maharaj, it is both same place here. Narada Muni by Bhakti Vedanta, Dhruva Maharaj by Narada Muni's mercy, spiritual master mercy, after instructing him to meditate on Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya, Dvadasakshara mantra. And that is also instruction for us. Chanting Hare Krishna Maha mantra, 16 rounds and minimum and more. Nirapeksha. Nirantara. Namaloilo. So Krishna Premadana, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu instructs Sanatana Goswami, Nirantar Namaloilo, as much as more we should take up. And Lord Brahma is instructing us also through his own pastime of Lord Krishna, is telling in Brahma Samhita that when we are meditating Gayatri, while doing Gayatri also, we should be very careful, be observed and very carefully meditate and pray sincerely. If you do wrongly, if you have wrong desires, that also will manifest while doing Gayatri. If you have wrong desire, wrong proclivities, if you are not submitting to the Lord for the real advancement, real purification, real service to the spiritual master and Vaishnavas, then the material activities will continue. So there in the Brahma Samhita verses, beginning verses itself, Kama Gayatri, Gopal Gayatri, the last two Gayatris, Lord Brahma has been invested with the potency of transcendental energy of the Supreme Lord Krishna by his flute sound. he has received. And then that there in the purport, Sri Bhakti Siddhanta Thakur is explaining, giving that one must be very careful not to look for material desires while doing the Gayatri. Really seek the spiritual desires. So then these Gayatri mantras can take us back home, back to Godhead by simply just chanting this Gayatri with that great absorption and follow the instruction and the introspections. What we get are the whatever will be revealed based on our meditation and absorption on those Gayatri. So that's why it's very prominent. We have to improve our way we chant Gayatri. It cannot be mechanical. Our chanting also cannot be mechanical, as it is here. Dhruva Maharaj in this purport also we are reading. Now let's look at the next verse. So already time is 8:38. I think let's pick up the important verses 11 and 12. Those are very, very important. Very, very important verses 11 and 12. Bhakti muhu pravadam tvai me prasango bhuyadananta mahatam amalasayanam enanjasa ulvanam guru vyasanam bhavadvim nesye bhavat brahmakatam mrutapanamatta. Bhakti, devotion service, muhu means constantly, pravahatam, like the Ganga, rivers are flowing into the ocean, like that it must form. Those who perform, tvai me prasango. This is intimate association. Again, we are coming to the same point. Prasanga means prakrushta rupena asanga. Sangha, association of beauty for asakti with the service mode to the absorption, like Narada Muni has done. Narada Muni was so much in deep absorption that as soon as they left, immediately he was absorbed. Even his mother bitten by a snake, she died. He was not in anxiety. He was not in fear. He was not in distress. He is completely fearless. And he exactly as they call 24/7, he executed the instructions what Bhakti Vedanta left him with. He was initiated them. He initiated. He's been initiated by them. Tatran vaham Krishna Katha pragayatam anugrahena asranavan manohara. Asranavan means with a deep meditative absorption of hearing, like Srila Prabhupada used to hear from Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Thakur. He used to sit in the front row, but he used to hear with very much carefully. And while reading also, Prabhupada stresses, scrutinizingly reads Prabhupada's purports. Then revelation will happen. So that's why Sravanam and Smara, Kirtan has to happen properly, for Smarana can happen. How will you improve? Prabhupada explains in that chapter 8, the verse number 8 of Nectar of Instruction. We repeatedly discussed, but still we fail to do it. When we read one verse, two, don't read so many verses and do nothing. Read only few verses, but contemplate. This is what we are supposed to do as devotees. Smarana means contemplation, absorption, meditation, recollection, reflection. These are the 5 aspects Prabhupada Goswami describes, and the Prabhupada elaborates on this purport. Sravana to lead to Varana, Varana to lead to Smarana, Smarana Vasta. Constantly means initially it may be flickering here and there. To commit to the thickness, absorption every day. You pick up, read only few verses, 2 or 3 at the best, but remember that verse. Repeat it in your mind while taking bath, while taking shower, while shaving, while driving. Repeat, bring it back, just like the cow eats and brings it to again and eats again. Like that, we have to recite these verses and read it. If you forget, you don't remember. We don't need to become scholar. We don't need to go. I don't remember Prabhu. How can you remember? You can remember. It's a practice. If you take these 1 or 2 verses, what you are reading every day, at least the important verses, if not everyday verse, and repeat in your mind. If you forget, refer to the book, read that line again, look at the translation, or the important essence what Prabhupada is giving. Repeatedly throughout the day, if you do that, you are going to remember. Doesn't matter how much we are not qualified or however we don't have any strength or no Sanskrit, no English, no nothing, but still we can still remember. Because if we are repeatedly doing from morning to evening, whenever we have gap, we are bringing that to the forefront, that verse, that purport, that essence of instruction from that verse, automatically we'll remember. And this is what my practice is. This is how I remember today these verses. It's not because of rocket science. This is the practice I have been told by Sri Prabhupada in that purport, and this is what I have been heard from Narada Muni's example, and I am repeatedly trying to do that process. Then only you can remember. Then you can get to them. Then you can practice can happen. If there is no recollection, absorption, smarana, then it cannot become practice. Practice won't be there. The thought was that means the mechanically it will be duty. Dhruva Maharaj is not in a mechanical. If one is doing perform like Narada Muni initiated Dhruva Maharaj, are we not initiated by our spiritual? We are initiated. Then why it is not happening to us? When Prahlad Maharaj initiated by Narada Muni within the womb, he's been invested with the spiritual energy. But how can he transform? Same thing with Narada Muni himself. He has been invested with Bhakti Vedanta. He has been initiated. We are also initiated. But why it is not happening? Because we are trying to do it so much mechanically, that love and affection, that intimate exchange, that intimacy is missing. So that means in order to bring that, we have to take more association and we have to pray and we have to bring, when we are reading these verses, we have to bring it to the forefront, to enliven. So the transcendental sound vibration, the Sabda Brahma, or the pure devotee, the voice coming from the Sabda Brahma. That's why what Guru Vandana we are singing. Every day we have to sing and look at the translation and recite at the end. Otherwise, we cannot absorb it into our consciousness. Divya Gnan Hruda Prakashitu. It is not Mana Prakashitu, it is not any other. It is heart. Who will awaken our senses and everything, Jnanendriyas, Karmendriyas and heart? Only the spiritual master. So that's why we have to take steps to hear from Srila Prabhupada and our spiritual master. Even who may be hearing from hundreds of devotees, but we must hear from spiritual master and we must hear from Srila Prabhupada. Then this absorption, this meditation, this recollection, then it can happen. Otherwise, it's very difficult, as it is mentioned here. Bhakti Muhu Pravasa, constant, how it will happen? How one can transform, if not to that level, to some level of Prahlad Maharaj, to some level of Narada Muni, to some level of Dhruva Maharaj. It can happen to us also. It is given, the ticket to go back home, back to Godhead by given by Srila Prabhupada. Our Acharyas, Lord Krishna is arranging the situation for all of us. But who is going to take the chance? Who is actually taking it seriously? Based on that, then the result, the transformation is there. Based on that, enlivening of senses is happening. That means that love and affection has to be there every day. It is not that once in a blue moon, Janmashtami comes, then I will be jumping up and down. No, it has to be every day. Slowly, gradually, we have to pick up this intensity, the fire. Tivrena Bhakti Yogena. It is not just Bhakti Yogena. Clearly, that word is Tivrena. That means intensity has to. If the fire is not there, you are putting water again and again in the yajna, then what will happen? Fire will stop. Fire of Krishna consciousness doesn't happen. So that love and intimacy doesn't enliven, doesn't happen, and then automatically the enlivening of senses is not arising. But in Dhruva Maharaj's case, it happened within 6 months, short period. For Prahlad Maharaj also it happened. And Narada Muni also it happened. These repeated pastimes being in the Srimad Bhagavatam to instruct us that we have to observe ourselves of these characteristics or lifetimes of these exalted devotees and put it into practice, our practice. How much deeply, meditatively hear and scrutinizingly read. Even if it is one verse, fine, but take it to the heart and try to implement that in our life, in our practice. It is not just simply hear and go with another verse and I have completed Bhagavad Gita, I have completed Srimad Bhagavatam. No, that's not how we should read. If you have read first time, second time, fine. But when we read third time, we should know in and out of Bhagavad Gita, in and out of Srimad. And then we should digest that and put it into practice. Then there will be fire. These all, and despite doing all this, we have to depend and utterly cry to the spiritual master and the acharyas in the association of people. That's why it is very much required. What humble submission, how much humble submission we have to the acharyas, to the sadhus, to the Vaishnavas. To that degree, this intensity will increase. To that degree, this enlivening of senses will come. Otherwise, it's very difficult. Let's look at this verse. Dhruva Maharaj continued, "Oh, unlimited Lord, kindly bless me so that I may associate with great devotees who engage in your transcendental loving service constantly." He's not asking once in a while, constantly. As the waves of the river constantly flow, such transcendental devotees are completely situated in uncontaminated state of life. By the process of devotion service, I shall surely be able to cross the assigned ocean of material existence, which is filled with the waves of blazing fire-like dangers. It will be very easy for I am becoming mad to hear about your transcendental qualities and pastimes, which are eternally existent. Prabhupada, the significant point in the Dhruva Maharaj statement is that he wanted the association of pure devotees. So that means we have to plan. That's why we are being reminded. Janmashtami is coming up, Radhashtami is coming up. We have something to do. Means we have to plan now what we are going to do, what service I am going to take up. It's not that day. From today it needs time. It needs planning. Then we can, what we are going to do, because in 64 instructions of Nectar, that's why you have to read scrutinizingly. There is clearly it's called out, Prabhupada Goswami is clearly calling out. One must do special service on Janma. So now, if you don't meditate, that day is going to arise, this thought will arise. Even if it arises, then what you are going to do? Time is limited, then you can't do. If you meditate now, then you have time, 2 months, then to plan something, to do some special service. Other than our regular chanting and hearing, reading, increasing, we have to do some special service on these special days. One of the instructions, one of 64 items. We have to choose, we have to take the responsibility. This will increase our love. Why will we take up? Because we want to actually internalize our senses, we want to really develop that love with the Lord. Just like we have with our grandfather, our father, with our children. We have that intimacy, we have that love. That's why we want to buy, we want to cook, we want to do everything what they like. So this is why this is a very important principle. That's why here we see that the association of beauty, the transcendental devotion service cannot be complete and cannot be relishable without the association of devotees. So we have therefore established the International Society of Krishna Consciousness. Anyone who is trying to be aloof from this Krishna Conscious Society, see that clear point. Anyone who is trying to be aloof from this Krishna Conscious Society and yet engage in Krishna Consciousness is living in a great hallucination. But this is not possible. That's why Prabhupada has given the part. That means try to attend Sunday feast, try to be in the association of devotees, try to at least attend the Gaura Arati and at least hear. Doesn't matter who's there sitting on the Vyasasana, just hear. This is our duty. This is what Srila Prabhupada has given. That means avoiding what Srila Prabhupada has given the platform, we are going to become pure devotees. No question. No question. That's why we have to take what Srila Prabhupada Acharya has given means we have to follow. We have no choice, no independence. If you want to become independent, then no one can help. Guru cannot help or Acharyas cannot help. Then we cannot get the mercy like how Dhruva Maharaj got, how Prahlad Maharaj got. So we have to take at least, okay, everybody is busy. All right, fine. But at least, if not, if you miss one Sunday, fine. But traveling or whatever. But try to be in the association. This is the meant to be. Out of, this morning also we discussed, out of 24 hours, Prabhupada is very, very thoughtful. 24 hours, there are Ashtakali Leela, 8 into 3. 3 hours is called 1 Praharana. There are 8 Praharanas. There is 8 Praharanas are Ashtakali Leela of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Ashtakali Leela of Radha and Krishna. And the same thing applies to the practitioner, of the devotee also. So Bhaktivinoda Thakur gives this. And Sri Prabhupada put that into practice for us. Only in the night 9 p.m. to early morning 3 a.m. is the only sleeping time. The only 2 Praharanas. Rest of the Praharanas, we are to be absorbed in Krishna conscious. That's why he designed such as Mangalarati is 4:30. On 3 o'clock, one should wake up and get ready and try to be in Krishna conscious activities. It goes on, whole day goes on until 9 o'clock. All these remaining 6 Praharanas to be absorbed. Hearing Srimad Bhagavatam, okay, you cannot hear, at that time on the temple channel, hear your own from Sri Prabhupada, spiritual master, read, but we cannot miss. If you don't make that practice today, imagine when we are 60 years old, 70 years old, when nothing is working, our senses are not working, we don't have developed taste for hearing and reading, and imagine what the situation is. Obviously, we will be tortured, we will be in anxiety because my kids are not behaving properly, my kids are not serving, they are not taking care of me. All these thoughts, so many innumerable thoughts will run through at that time. But what will save us? Only if we have developed this taste, if we have developed this practice now, when we are later, when we are old, it helps us to be in focus. Nothing will agitate at that point because we have internalized the process. What's the problem? This is what is meant to do. But we are forgetting. This sadhana is okay. Chalta hai, bhai. 16 not finish karenge. Usme kya baat hai? Shaam tak karenge? No, that's not what Sri Prabhupada has given. Sri Prabhupada, we have seen, Sri Prabhupada, yes, he had told. four rounds divided into 4 times, morning 4 and then afternoon 4, evening 4, like that. Yes, you can do it. But quality is not there now. So Prabhupada is doing with quality, even if he is doing. He obviously is chanting always, walking and chanting and translating again in between. He is, despite his busy schedule, he is still chanting always. So that's why we have to take this platform what Sri Prabhupada has established. Morning Mangalarti, okay, you cannot attend temple Mangalarti, attend on YouTube. Before chanting, you are supposed to attend Mangalarti. You watch at least 2-3 minutes. You have to take darshan of the Lord. This is the process. Don't boycott the process given by Sri Prabhupada. Then you can't receive mercy. Then you can't receive enlightenment in the heart. You have to, no chance. We have to take the process as it is by given by Sri Prabhupada. Even if you are sitting at home, remotely, wherever you are, doesn't matter. Everything is there on YouTube now, mayapur.com, vrindavan.com, everything is there. Every Mangalarti is there, recorded. You can see, watch for a few minutes. Chant some Saradava prayers. It's as good as you are sitting in a temple. Obviously, best thing is to come to the temple and attend Mangalarti. Okay, fine, you cannot do because of work schedule, busy, fine, no problem. But do it at home at least. Something we have to do. Then otherwise, what Sri Prabhupada is given platform, we are missing it. Then missing the mercy. So that is 4:30. That's what we have to do, chanting and taking Tulsi Marani at home, if not at temple, and then following Srimad Bhagavatam. If not at the temple channel, do it at home by yourself. But ideally, we are supposed to take also, if not every day, we should take at least weekend. We have to make ideally it should be every day. Nityam Bhagavad, it's not a weekend Bhagavad Seva, Nityam Bhagavad Seva. So this is how these praharanas, and then rest of the day from 9 o'clock to evening, devotees used to go book distribution, devotees used to cook, devotees used to engage in various services, translation, painting, so many things. Those days, they used to be very busy, occupied fully in devotion service. That's also Prabhupada make sure that if you don't engage, you are not busy in Krishna conscious activities, you will be busy in mind speculations. Then you cannot attain Krishna. Then you cannot purify. Then there is no question of absorption, meditation, recollection. This will not come. We obviously will do these 5 things of the material activities, not of the spiritual activities, because of that lack of following what Sri Prabhupada's platform. And the evening we have to read, supposed to read Bhagavad. Okay, if you are not able to join temple, then read it by yourself. Why we can't do that? That means we have lost the priority. We have lost the Sri Prabhupada's mercy. We don't want to follow Sri Prabhupada. We want to follow our own whims and ideas. But this is the first step Krishna is telling Arjuna. You have to give up your own speculation. I don't want to fight. I want to. That is your speculation. Did I tell you to do that? No. Then why you are independent? Why you are bringing up your independence, minds, ideas? It is your duty as my eternal servant. You are supposed to follow what I say. That means we all have to follow what Acharya has given, because Acharya knows exactly how much we are capable in this Kali Yuga. He has given accordingly. You cannot question why Sri Prabhupada has given this. No, just follow what is being given, because he knows, he is the expert doctor, he knows how to cure us. So we have to take it as it is. If we have difficulty, then we have to take the guidance from spiritual master or his representatives. First, that is the foremost principle always. We have questions on what the instruction, how we are not able to follow, then we have to seek the guidance. We cannot independently act otherwise. Take the guidance from 100 devotees. Then each one will give difference of opinion. Then which one you are going to follow? Then why you need to be initiated? You don't want to follow Guru or Guru's representative, but you want to follow hundreds of devotees. That is not the process. You have to always go with the proper guidance. We will situate it properly. That's how you have to take. Otherwise, we will go with our own ideas and thoughts. That will never work in devotion service. So there is Prabhupada's platform of these praharanas of morning and evening Bhagavad Gita. Sometimes Prabhupada used to read in the afternoon in Vrindavan and LA temples, which is Krishna book. Ideally, also night time before sleeping, we are supposed to. This is the Prabhupada established. So that 24/7 at least from 3 a.m. Okay, forget 3 a.m. It is by practice. Start with 5, 6 o'clock and gradually bring it back and sleep early. It is possible. It is not rocket science. Don't tell me that I'm in Bombay, I'm in New York, I'm working 15 hours. Yes, that we have made that independent choice to make it complicate ourselves. That's why we cannot do. But that can be possible even now if you are working like that. If you sincerely pray, if you have sincere desire, if you pray, Lord Krishna will adjust the situation, bring it back to the simpler from complex situation, so that we can follow what Sri Prabhupada has given. Then we can see, they're like here, Dhruva Maharaj giving. That Prabhupada is making that point. Anyone who's trying to be aloof from this Krishna conscious society, which means whatever Prabhupada engage in Krishna consciousness is living in a great hallucination. That's what it means. But this is not possible. From the statement by Dhruva Maharaj, it is clear that unless one is associated with devotees, his devotion service does not mature. It does not become distinct from material activities. The Lord says, Satam prasangat mama virya samvedo bhavant hrit karna rasayana joshanat apavarti vartun shraddha bhakti ratir anukramis. Gradual from faith to rati, to asakti, rati, bhava, and then Krishna prema. Only way you can attain is by the association, Satam, pure devotees. Only in the association of pure devotees can the works of Lord Krishna be fully potent and relishable to the heart and ear. Dhruva Maharaj explicitly wanted the association of devotees. That association in devotional activities is just like the waves of an incessantly flowing river. In our Krishna conscious society, we have full engagement 24 hours a day. This is what I'm talking about. The 8 praharanas, except 2 praharanas, 6 praharanas, we have to somehow or the other. At least start somewhere, then we will come to that. We don't need to worry so much, caught up exact calculation, but at least start somewhere. Then we can come to the higher and higher. Every moment of our time is always busily engaged in the service of Lord. This is called incessant flow of devotion service. A Mayavadi philosopher may question us. You may be very happy in the association of devotee, but what is your plan for crossing the ocean of material existence? Dhruva Maharaj's answer is that it is not very difficult. He clearly says that this ocean can be crossed very easily. One simply becomes mad to hear the glories of the Lord. Bhagavat guna Katha. For anyone who persistently engage in hearing the topics of the Lord from Srimad Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam. That means we have to force. This also we are discussing. We have to force the gross body and subtle body. We have to force to wake up, force to read, force to hear. Initially mechanically, but force. We have to apply that. Otherwise, body wants to enjoy, body wants to sleep, body wants to take rest, body wants recreation, body wants to go here and there and eat whatever it wants. This is what it is. That's why when we depend on the acharyas and follow that process and force by reminders or through other devotees taking their association, following that, so that way at least we get on the timetable to read, timetable to hear, and do service, weekly or daily service. In this way, then we come to the routine. Naturally, from mechanical, we come to the loving service. But if we don't even have a natural daily routine of this process, systematically, continuously, every day, then it's very difficult and we lose the taste completely. Even mechanical won't happen after some time. Even chanting won't happen properly. Some or the other, we may finish through 16 or breeze through. But that's not how Prabhupada instructed us. Although the material world is blazing fire to a devotee, it appears full of pleasure. The purport of this statement by Dhruva Maharaj is that devotion service in the association of devotees is the cause of the development of further devotion service. Yeah, this is the statement by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to Sanatana Goswami also. That the sadhu sangha mukhya hoya, te the mukhya anga. Even when you are practicing stage, even when you become pure devotee also. Sadhu sangha, in Golok Vrindavan or Vaikuntha, what the devotees do? Same thing. Association with the Manjaris and or ISKCON is there. There also Sri Prabhupada is there. Bhakti Siddhanta Thakur, all of them are associates of Lalita and Vishaka. So we are in that association. We are trying to serve. Again, there also we get the instruction. So Guru is eternal. That's why he is giving revelation here, and he engages us in the service. He connects us to Lord Krishna and engages in the service there also. So that's why it is eternal. We are indebted. We can never repay a debt, even if we do daily service to spiritual master. Still, we cannot repay. That is the position of the pure devotee. So we'll finish this paragraph. We'll end. By devotion service, only one is elevated to the transcendental planet Golok Vrindavan, and there is only devotion service. For the activities of devotion service, both in this world, in the spiritual world, are one and the same. Devotion service does not change. The example of a mango can be given here. If one gets an unripe mango, it is still a mango. That's when Prabhupada asked how many pure devotees, how many devotees we have in ISKCON. All of them are pure. And this means Prabhupada meant green mango and ripe mango. They are green, but they are going to become pure, provided they follow what process Prabhupada has given. That's what it meant. It is still a mango, and when it is ripe, it remains the same mango, but it has become more tasteful and relishable. And that's also what Swami tasted. Nigama kalpataror galitam palam sukha mukad amruta drava samidam. That's what it becomes. It becomes more relishable and tasteful when we hear from the advanced devotees, sadhus, mahajanas, Srila Prabhupada, the spiritual master. Similarly, there is a devotion service performed according to the direction of the spiritual master and injunctions and regulative principles of Shastra. And there is a devotion service in the spiritual world, rendered directly in the association with the Supreme Personality of Godhead. But they are both the same. There is no change. The difference is that one stage is unripe and the other is ripe, more relishable. It is possible to mature in devotion service only in the association of devotees. So this is the key to the success. So that's why we have to take up Dhruva Maharaj's pastime to the heart and follow it. Today, don't wait till tomorrow. I'll start, Prabhu, I'll start from tomorrow. No, class today. After the class, start today. We haven't finished 16 rounds, we haven't finished Srimad Bhagavat reading. Today, do it today. Make that practice, then it's going to happen. Every day it is going to happen. But if you don't do, it is going to fail regularly. So that we should avoid, try to avoid. That's what we have to do. Devotion service is Samiksha, Pratiksha, Pariksha. Samiksha means we have to constantly examine ourselves, where we are going, where we are lacking, what are the positives, what are the negatives, and how we can come out of it. If you don't do Samiksha, then bound to fail. The Pariksha is going to bound to fail, second step. If you fail it, Pratiksha, then at the end, Pratiksha is patience and tolerance. We are practicing that Samiksha, what we are getting, the negative thoughts, how we are going to improve. Constantly, we are trying to rectify, improve it. And if you do that, then when the Pariksha, every day we will get the tests, various tests, every day or every week. And the final test, we'll pass it. If you don't, you fail it, regularly fail it. At the end, fail it. So that's what will happen. So that's what we are learning from here, Dhruva Maharaj's pastimes. Many instructions, but yeah. Thank you very much for patiently listening and hearing. Please share your reflections. I think Maharaj replied. Sorry, I think I missed this. I'm in Bulgaria. I think this was for 3 p.m. Maharaj didn't realize that. Yes. श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय, श्रीपाद की जय, वांछा कल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्यो च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः।
वैष्णव वृंद की जय।
Any comments, reflections, corrections, questions? Please do so.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, Dhanva Pranam. All good for Prabhupada ki jai. Very nice class, Krishnaman Prabhu. You mentioned 3 points, Prabhu, like obedient and the disciplines, and third point
Sense control.
Sorry, Prabhu?
Sense control.
Yeah, sense control, or we see all 3 points required, even not the spiritual, the material success also. Like either a job or wherever we are, these required in that also. But when we come the spirituality, somewhere the lacking happens. So how to, especially when we compare the material versus spiritual, the material we see, these are more because we know the results. If we are not disciplined, the manager or that the authority will fire us.
Right.
How to maintain the same thing in a spirituality to these 3 things, having the high priority also similar to the material life?
Very nice question. So point here is there, somebody is there to take a stick and tell us, take a stick means give a pink slip. You are going home, Baba. Enough. We have seen enough from you. You are not active. You are not properly doing your work. You have to go back home now. There, we are afraid of that because otherwise we are going to pay the bills. That means that intensity, the fire is there. If I am not going to show up in the meeting, not going to do the work properly in time, somebody is there to watch. Somebody is there to chastise. Somebody is there to correct us. So that's why the pure devotee association is required. If you are not coming to Sunday feast and somebody is there, Prabhu, how come I haven't seen you? Then people will say, hey, why is he asking this question? As though he is the boss. We have that negative opinion. But if you have the positive, at least somebody is looking I didn't show up. At least he's inquiring what's happening. Is everything all right? So this is the process. We are under the shelter of pure devotees. Somebody is looking after us, whether we are progressing properly or not. And then we are conscious also. If we take it properly, these interaction exchanges, somebody is asking, if you take it properly, that is like acting like a job manager or a business, whatever we are doing. Then that means then we will be careful not to miss it. Careful to follow what the other devotee is instructing. If we are not in that shelter, not shelter of the spiritual master and representatives or the advanced devotees, authorities, then we are on our own. Then we are not in that fire. Nobody is there to correct us. Nobody is there to chastise us. How come you missed Mangalarti today? How come you didn't finish your 16 rounds today? How come you are dragging till evening and chanting somehow or the other? Nobody is there to check. Guru is not going to ask every day. He has so many other things he is going to check every day. No, that's why I told. For devotee, he is not to be disciplined. Devotee means he should be disciplined. Self. Especially after initiation, we are to be disciplined. That means we have to hear. When you hear from Guru and Sri Prabhupada every day, then we will be disciplined. If you don't hear it, discipline cannot come. Because the words are, sadhu's words are like a sword, axe. It cuts the knots. If you don't hear it, then that day will be so many different places. Mind is running everywhere. We're trying to do or finish our material job, but we'll neglect the spiritual job. So that's what it is. We should be under the shelter of those who are going to look after us, who are going to chastise us, who are going to correct us, who are going to bring fire into our Krishna conscious activities. Then we can act properly with proper submission, proper self-control, proper discipline. If not, it is not possible. That means priority has to be rightly set. Priority has to be rightly set. In office, you have priority. For meetings, you have priority for quarterly delivery or monthly delivery or weekly, whatever you have, depending on the job you have. But then for a spiritual, okay, what you are going to. That's why these days we are in a completely different platform. In the beginning of Sri Prabhupada's time, what Sri Prabhupada, there used to be a regular exchange. Spiritual master or the Krishna, different sannyasis used to be there. A regular exchange that this week, what I have done in terms of book distribution, in terms of activity, in terms of sadhana, what you have done for Sri Prabhupada, what you have done for the temple. This kind of exchange, the report, spiritual master, the disciples used to write to Sri Prabhupada. Then Prabhupada used to reply. Despite his busy, he used to reply. Because this validates us. This puts us in the right track. Always this exchange should go on. That the self-introspection has to go on. If not, you are not writing to spiritual master, you are not exchanging with the authority or advanced devotees, or you are not sharing or exchanging. With that also we have a problem. That is why that whole discipline is very much lacking, because neither we are self-introspecting. If at all, if somebody asks anything of devotion practice, then we have a big problem. Prabhu, nothing, you don't need to worry about it. You don't need to ask these things. So then what can you do? Nothing much. So that's where it lies. Your fire, your intensity. It is disciple's job. It is a practitioner's job to take the asura and ask. It is not others advanced devotee's job to ask you, Prabhu, how is your chant? You are supposed to, because you are supposed to examine and discuss. You don't discuss with anybody. Neither you are yourself examining, introspecting, and how you are going to remove our negative things, how you are going to improve. You don't question yourself. Neither you discuss with anybody. Then how will you do? Is it not manager? Your manager is not doing. Our manager is doing in office. At least I have 3 quarterly in a year. 3 times we are supposed to write the summary, and we are supposed to have one-on-one meeting with the manager. If you are doing in the office, then why it is not going to be done in the spiritual activity? That means we don't have that care and anxiety for our advancement, care and anxiety for Guru service. Then we do whatever we like. We don't become methodical. We don't become disciplined. So that's where it is lacking big time. This is not how Sri Prabhupada's time it was. It is today because we have too many comforts. That is another problem. Too many comforts. We don't want to come out of the comfort zone. So that's what it is. Prabhu. Any further questions or?
Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Yes, Srinivas, go ahead.
Yeah, all through your discourse, I see many times Guru, initiation and all this. Of course, this is part of our life, it has to be. But initiation, exactly what does it mean? And at the same time, initiation, what I understand it is connecting with the Guru who will show the path of deliverance, basically. So after initiation, even though we pretend that we are doing so many rounds of chanting and all these things, and if we do some mistake, is it going to affect us and also our Guru Maharaj? Because this is one of the things which is bothering for many, many years, which I am pulling back myself to go for that step, Prabhuji. Just please clarify, Prabhuji.
Yes, Shastra is instructing Tad Vijnanardham Sagurum Eva Abhigachyet Samit Paniyam Sotriyam Brahmanishtam. It's mandatory. It's not optional. When will that become mandatory? When will that happen? When will that be mandatory? If one is being whipped by Maya, enough. Then that question will arise, first of all. When will inquiry happen? Look at Bhagavad Gita, chapter 1. When Lord Arjuna is asking questions, when the inquiry started happening, when he is put into the distressed condition, when is the anxiety, when is that complex situation, then the questioning started, inquiry has started, when the perplexities arise. Until that, this question doesn't even arise of initiation, question doesn't even arise to take shelter of spiritual. Because we are absorbed in this world of the whatever activities we are trying to do, that's what we are absorbed, that's why we initiation, forget about it. That's not my cup of tea. Fine. What can we do? What can be done? Because the Shastra is clearly instructing. You go by Shastra or Sadhu, or you go by some worldly people say. Prabhupada never encouraged that. Who they? They means who? Is Shastra? Is a Guru? Is spiritual man? Which Sampradaya? Prabhupada used to ask. If somebody said something, you have to go by what Sadhu and Shastra is telling. Then only the Shastra is clearly telling. And Prabhupada has told. Prabhupada didn't take initiation, he took. Droma didn't take initiation, he took. Prahlad Maharaj didn't take initiation, he took. The whole Srimad Bhagavatam is giving again and again, repeatedly telling. Now you may tell, the Prabhu, in Jagannath Puri there are devotees, in Vrindavan there are devotees who didn't take initiation. I mean, do you know what their past life is? Why you have to relate to them? Why you cannot, when you are sitting in one sampradaya, when you are in the institution, when you cannot follow the parampara acharya line, what they are giving, and you want to compare with world, in the whole world where other things are going on, that's not the system, that's not the process, that's not the discipline. Even for that also, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur is giving in his commentary that there is three categories of one who is getting initiation now, but one is Praktan, and then I forget the Sanskrit terms. In the previous life, they have taken already, surrendered. They are continuing, like the Jagannath Puri devotees are there, some of them. Seemingly, in today's life, in this life, they are seemingly not taken initiation, but they have so much attachment to them. Doesn't mean that you don't need initiation. That's not what it means. Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur explains that they either through them last life they have taken already, they are continuing, or in this life they are doing like we are taking, or the third category is somebody is instructing, like the Prabhupada instructing or spiritual master instructing, but the disciple, initiated devotee is not taking seriously, but the one who has heard through the disciple, or not even from Guru, but heard from devotees that this is what we are supposed to follow, this is how we should be disciplined ourselves, then they take it very seriously and follows through. Even though they are not directly, but they are internally being initiated in that way. There is another category, third category. Again, we have to follow what Sri Prabhupada has given. Everything lies in what Acharya has given. He knows exactly what qualification we have, what strengths we have, what weakness we have. Accordingly, the medicine treatment is given. If you follow it, you will cure it. If you don't follow it, there is no way for cure. That we have to, it is as simple as that. There is no other way about it. No beating around bush. Come to the straight to the point. So that means we have to take. It is our independence and free will is there. No one is going to force you. You have to take initiation. Only devotees will guide and instruct or suggest. It is up to the individual choice. Krishna is not going to force. Guru is not going to force. Nobody is going to force you. It is individual choice. Again, now you may say that fear. What fear is there? That means you are okay to be in fear of this worldly danger, these sharks and crocodiles. You want to be here, but you don't want to be with Guru, connect with Guru in the district. That means you see that this fear is more, this fear is less, and that fear is more. You think at the same time on initiation day, Guru is going to take responsibility karma. Whatever till that day we have committed, that Guru is going to take. But after that, we should be careful. That's why there's a 6 months of 1 year period. It's called Purascharya, or another Guru Prasapti or something. Different terms are used. That means at least minimum 6 months to a year is to be observed, to come to the temple, to be in the practice, to chant, to hear, to dance. All this process has to be followed. Then somebody recommends. Even when Prabhupada was there, somebody has to recommend. Prabhupada is not directly. Few occasions, those are exceptions. But in general, somebody has to recommend that they have seen this devotee is following. He's not whimsically coming up today that I want initiation. He had done something. He has shown something. Then authority will recommend such and such devotee, please initiate. So we shouldn't be fearful. At the same time, we should be disciplined in our actions. Obviously, Guru gets karma, especially second initiation is more intense. Guru gets 50% for the disciple, or some percentage, 50% to the Guru also gets. If you have second initiation, it's even more serious. That's why generally second initiation is not given so easily. And especially for that, Bhakti Shastri is mandatory nowadays. Because if you don't study Bhakti Shastri, why it is mandatory? Because if you don't study these books, 4 books, Act of Devotion, Act of Instruction, Bhagavad Gita, and then Isopanishad, we haven't understood the essence. We are not disciplined enough. We are not ready to practice it. Then how we will do properly, especially being Brahman, being a second initiated means is more responsible. Whatever you speak coming from the mouth, in negative thoughts, always this fault finding, then that's not good, actually. No negative thought should come out from the mouth of a Brahman. That is one of the characteristics. So we should be very. I have heard from my spiritual master, he chastised when somebody is talking negative. Already is opening his mouth with a negative thought, immediately chastised. This is not the Brahmana's business. You have to be positive, because that can happen. When the Brahmana is speaking mouth, things can happen that way. So that's why we should be very careful. The first initiation, not so serious, but still, it is too serious to somewhat. Guru gets also karma. So that's the 4 regulative principles especially. That should be there, but doesn't mean that we become fearful and we don't take it up. Because we have more fear here. You take the shelter of a Guru who can take us away from all these miseries and purify us and go back home. Okay, if not this life, whenever that's going to happen. But at least we'll be better off than taking shelter of the world than taking shelter of spiritual master, who is pure. You want to take shelter of the impure, or you want to take the shelter of the pure? We have to decide ourselves. If you have fear, then in fear and anxiety you cannot do. If you don't have faith, proper faith, and then no one can help. Now Krishna is telling in Bhagavat chapter 9, Asraddha Dhana Purusha Dhammasya Prandam Apraptimam Nivartante Mrityu Samsara Vartamani. If you don't have proper faith, then there is no question of understanding the essence of Bhagavad Gita, practicing devotions. It's very difficult. We may continue many lifetimes. I don't know how long, but it is not so good for us. We should try to bring it to the point of connecting to the spiritual master as much as possible. That is what Srila Prabhupada instructed us. He has shown by his own example. It's not that he didn't get initiated, he is asking us to get initiated. So you have to follow what Sadhu and Shastra and Guru is teaching by their own example. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu didn't he take from Yesarpuri? He took it. The 6 Goswami didn't take? No, all of them took. All our acharyas shown by their own example and very disciplined, very obedient under the care of the spiritual master and advanced devotees. Look at Narottam Das Thakur, Shyamananda Pandit, and who is that? Srivas Acharya. 3 of them from 3 different spiritual masters. How did they work together? All 3 work together like amazing miracles has produced. Because of their mercy, today we are reading these books, because they are the ones who brought from Bengal and distributed that across the world, Orissa and other places. It is because of their causeless mercy. All three of them work together, even though they are from three different spiritual masters. They didn't have any difference of opinion. Yes, there may be details, there may be different from different gurus, but the principle is same. Because all representing going back to Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. They work together, unity and diversity. This is how we have to work together. Forget about the negative things. Always look at the positive things and try to cooperate, try to work through it. Work through whatever we got. You cannot complain because whatever Lord has given is enough for us actually. If we take it positively and improve it with the whatever association, whatever devotees we have, we can improve collectively and cooperatively and for pleasure of Prabhupada and Guru. And we can remove all the fears and anxieties and distresses and difficulties, and we can be in bliss, all of us. It is choice is us. You want to take it to the bliss or you want to be in fear and anxiety and distress, it's up to us. Nobody is going to force us. Is that clear?
Yeah, Prabhuji. Thank you. Thanks a lot, Prabhuji.
So yeah, it's up to you. Take the step forward or not, but that is Shastra is clearly indicating, Guru is indicating, Prabhupada is indicating clearly. And they are very merciful, compassionate. Prabhupada has given, even though authorities said, oh, Prabhupada, how can you do? He just came in, he just walked in, it's only a month old. But Acharya knows, if he wants to give, he'll give. So they are very compassionate, they are very merciful. Bhaktivedanta also gave. So we should take it as a mercy.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Thank you. Okay. We will not take further questions, already 9:24. So we should give the time back to devotees. Andra Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Shri Prabhupada ki jai, Gaur Bhaktivinoda ki jai. Please join Sunday feast program 5:39 today evening. I'm sure you all broke the fast. Parana time is already getting over soon, 10:50 or so, 5:50, 10 something. And upcoming festivals is there. Sri Krishna Janma Monday, I think Monday or Tuesday, August 1st is Purnami, full moon day in Purushottam month. Is very, very auspicious. So, and August the 15th is ending Purushottam month. Try to increase whatever devotional activities as much as possible, as 1,000 times, and try to avoid inauspicious activity. Try to avoid, because that also magnifies 1,000 times. So that's why we have to be very careful. And during this month, as much as possible, avoid it. Then Janmashtami is there, September 6th. We have a lot of services, a lot of activities. Please help in any way. If you want to help us in any service, please contact us so that we can try to collectively please the Prabhupada and do grand manner in a loving, affectionate way. This celebration, Janmashtami is the most one. Before that, 1 week before is Balram Jayanti, Rakhi Purnima, which is, I think, August. That is also Wednesday. It is August 30th, Wednesday is Balram Jayanti, Rakhi Purnima, fasting till noon. And September 6th, Wednesday is Sri Krishna Janmashtami, fasting till midnight. And then September 7th is Prabhupada appearance day, and also. And then September 22nd, Friday is Radhashtami. So make it to the point, mark it in your calendars, and prepare accordingly. Plan now, as we discussed in the class, on how you want to serve in your own individual way and collectively. Already Madhupad Prabhu said, you want to create a Vraj in weekend. So collectively, how we should celebrate nicely, and that we should meditate and should bring our thoughts together and work together. Make it possible, make it pleasing to Sri Prabhupada and our acharyas. Thank you. We'll end the call today. Thank you for your association. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you.
Wonderful class.